Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. We want to get an update from Fury Gold Mines, and Tim Clark, the CEO, is here with us. Good morning to Canada. How are you?
Hey, morning, Jochen. How are you?
Good, good. All fine. Thank you. Gold at record highs, 2,639 just some minutes ago. I love it. That's good. And I'm also sure silver's very close to explode. So from that perspective, everything looks good except some share prices, but we will talk about that later. First of all, congratulations to your Intercept with over 12 grams gold per ton, over 3 meters at Serendipity. So that was a good hit, I would say.
That was a great hit for us. It was almost more important for the justification that our process of using biochem testing and survey work is working, and so we've been able to identify another dozen anomalies across the property. This was only the first one we went out to, and we hit gold, and so we're thrilled. And at the same time, there are signatures of the same thing at Eau Claire, which is our main resource, at Percival, and now at Serendipity. And we also got probably our biggest anomaly up at Eleanor South joint venture, which is up near Newmont's mine.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk in a second about Eleanor South, but I want to stay shortly here with Serendipity and also with the beautiful map you have here in your presentation, the Hashimoto Deformation Zone. What does that zone mean, especially for you here, and also in connection with that drill result?
Well, you got your Canard Deformation Zone that runs on the southern border of the property. And then the Hashimoto zone actually moves up and comes up into the north. And that's basically the setup with where the controls are to the high grade that we've been getting at all these properties. So as we've been going out and doing our drilling and our testing, that all these anomalies are popping up with the same biochem, the same structural survey results, the same geochem, and they all have the same signature that Eau Claire and Percival had. And we started with this Serendipity. Serendipity is about 6 kilometers north of Percival. Percival was a discovery in 2018. They found a rock on the surface, kicked it over. It was 18 grams. And voila, we have a maiden resource 5 years later. And we're hoping that that's the kind of thing you're going to find with Serendipity. There's actually a winter trail that rolls 14 kilometers east to Percival, and then there's another one that runs up to Serendipity. So there's some continuity there and accessibility. Look, when we sit down with the major, for example, they love what we've done with our resource. We're up to almost 1.9 million ounces, and it's legit. And but when they look at the bigger property, what they are actually looking at is what's up for new discovery. And when I speak to these CEOs of these companies, they're more interested in big swaths of property going into a bull market. So they don't want to own a 2 million ounce. They want to have land to discover a 5 or 10 million ounce. And that's why they like these companies. The way Fury's been set up is, if you actually look at a map of Fury, we have actually big property for a junior, and all our property is next to big companies. And so, CapEx has been double in the last half a century. And it's the way you combat that is you own bigger swaths of land. It's harder to find these bigger properties. So effectively, or bigger discoveries. So you need big swaths of land. And so that's what's exciting about the Eau Claire. We're 30 kilometers wide. It's 55,000 hectares. It's a big piece. And so that's what's exciting. And we've done a lot of work on it where the previous owners hadn't.
So that means you might be a takeover target in the future, but at much higher prices.
well, we're hoping. I mean, look, there's always these exit strategies everybody wants. I mean, the better the exit strategy, the more likely the chance it's going to happen. And the James Bay is unique because there has been little work for discovery over the last 50 years than other places, but it's all changed because they have this hydro project that now powers all of Quebec and down into the United States. and you have infrastructure, and which is big roads and power that runs through a lot of these. And so you can actually drive right up with an 18-wheeler to the edge of our property. And to get over into our property, you go over one of these massive spillways, electrical spillways, so that, when you actually want to build this, everything's kind of ready. And so the margins are much better in a company like what we've got in the James Bay in Quebec versus being up in the middle of nowhere somewhere else. And so it's a huge advantage.
Okay, super. You just said something really interesting to me. Size matters, and you definitely have that with Eau Claire. I think also something which size matters is Eleanor South, where you have now 100% ownership. But in the north, there's the Eleanor mine from Newmont, which will be taken over now too. But to me, it looks like you are the direct neighbor. So I could imagine that Eleanor South is coming here in the future into the play because for size.
Well, it's so interestingly enough, so Eleanor is the third largest producing gold mine in Canada, and Goldcorp started it. Newmont took it over. They're down to 5 to 7 years mine life, as I understand it. And just as a finance guy, if you want to buy this property, the best way you can actually create value is by extending that mine life. And when you do that, you need more ounces. So if whoever buys this property is going to be interested in finding as many ounces around them as possible. They do have a mine. It's underground, but if you were able to find more gold around it and extend that from 5 to 7 years to, say, 14 to 15 years, you double the value of your asset. And these things are going for $600 to $800 million is what I'm sort of been alluded to. And that's a huge upside for whoever buys it if they can acquire or find something nearby. Interestingly enough, the Newmont sold us the rest of the joint venture last spring. It closed out. And so now we own 100% of it, and we're going in there aggressively because we have an anomaly that's right up on their border. That is our most prominent anomaly. It's got 250 times background signature gold, whereas say Serendipity had 50 and Percival 100. This is a lot more. It's a lot bigger piece of property. It's a golden till anomaly that we've seen under the bog, and there's been historical biochem on there. So, but not enough to really tighten up for a drill program. So we went this summer and we spent a bunch of money, and we're about to get the results back. We're waiting on our permit. We've got 2 of the 3 stages done on the permitting. And once we get that permit, we've got $2.5 million left over in flow through money that we didn't spend from earlier this summer. And we're going to go back in there and drill it. And that's going to be huge.
Okay, super. But if we talk also about size and huge, if I look at your map, Eau Claire is only 57 kilometers away from Eleanor South. Could maybe Eau Claire also come into the play for that mine?
In fact, Goldcorp already tested our resource, and the chemistry works to put it into their mill. So if you look by the crow flies, it's 57 kilometers. There is a power line that comes right down through the property. You could upgrade the road, the little trail that goes underneath it. It's a lot easier to permit. You could drive around. It's a little bit longer, but it's $1,600 gold. People weren't paying as much attention to it. At $2,600 gold going to $3,000, you betcha they're looking at it.
Yeah, definitely. So what is also going on Comet Bay? Because you said also there you are working on there, right?
Well, look, Comet Bay has historically about $160, $180 million already put into it. And I went up there this summer and I wanted to see what it was all about. And I was shocked. It was a massive, it's such a bigger property than anybody understands. It's 300 kilometers across this green belt up there. When I was flying up in the plane, the pilot's like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys are coming back up. You guys have the best camp up here. You guys got the most equipment. When are you coming back?" And the truth is, we didn't spend the money the last few years because it was the smart thing to do, not to dilute and wait for the bull market. The big companies, when things get good, when gold starts ripping, they want big property, and where you find the new big discoveries is in Nunavut. So that property, Comet Bay, could be a separate company. It just happens to be lopped into a junior. And the fact that we're valued where we are, our valuation is really only tagged on Eau Claire. And you've got 1.3 million ounces already up at Nunavut. You've got a runway, you got a 100-person camp, you got millions of dollars in equipment. All another company has to do is come up there and look at the exploration upside, and if they take a piece of that, it's going to revalue our company as Fury. So we did a small survey up there. We did it a lot, took a bunch of samples, and we're waiting for results. It was a small amount of work, but I think it's going to help us get attention from the bigger guys in this market.
Absolutely. Yeah, you touched also into something valuation, and this is something, which is really, really hefty, because I'm a shareholder of your company, and I know why I did it, because I see much, much higher values in your stock. If I look, for example, you own almost 19% in Dolly Varden, and per today at $1.15, $1.16, this alone is like 65 million Canadian dollars worth. Your market cap is something like 80 million Canadian dollars. You have still a lot of cash, and I must say, we get almost everything for free here.
And so that's, I got my stepfather in the stock a couple of years ago, and he bought quite a few shares, and I was a little nervous, because you got to go to Christmas and Thanksgiving with your family. I didn't want to blow him up, but he's like, look, I believe in the gold trade, and I believe in not just a trade, but I believe in a company that's building itself and growing. And that's what you guys are doing. And on the valuation side, I'm effectively buying Dolly Varden and getting an entire company for free. It's, our enterprise value for what it is and what the assets are is been crowded out or arbitraged, I think. There's sort of an arbitrage with the Dolly Varden. I think people are kind of wondering where that's going to go. Our hope is that Dolly gets taken out and we get a huge windfall and we get a big premium. And so, that 65 million could be worth, closer to 100 if things keep going the way they're going. And so, our game plan for that is to take just what we need when we need it off that and let the rest ride, because we believe in Sean Kun and the company. And at the same time, we just keep working on our assets below, and we're going to get recognized at some point. You can't own these many big properties with resources on it in a bull market when consolidation comes to play. We're just going to get a lot more, and it's going to happen quick. Yeah, and so I bought 50,000 more shares last Friday. So, I'm buying into the story. I believe in it, and let's keep letting investors know what we're doing.
Exactly. Question also here, you mentioned it already, consolidation in the industry. I think it started a little bit, but why have let's call it the big boys not been much more active at those low prices? Because one thing is for sure, gold goes to 3,000, silver goes to 50 at least. I see everything much, much higher. But it makes sense now to really buy those good assets, doesn't it?
Well, the first thing that they do is everybody thinks everything happens at once. It doesn't. And when you're an investor, for example, I was talking to a hedge fund guy at Goldman, and I said, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We're buying gold. We're making money on gold." And I said, "Well, when are you buying the equities?" "Well, when I'm done making money on gold." It kind of like they got to do one thing at a time. And I think the same thing with the big producers. Right now, they're having huge windfalls, and they're paying off debt. They've got massive debt. They want to get rid of it. This is the time in the market when you do that. The other things you think about is maybe buying back a few dividend or a few shares, or putting up your dividend a little bit. But once you get through that, they're gonna have a ton of cash. I mean, think about all these guys. This is a surprise. The gold price is a big surprise. So for every $100, like a Newmont makes on their gold prices, billions of dollars in cash flow revenue. It's crazy. And so they got to put it somewhere, and and one of the things that they're missing is more ounces. And so companies like Agnico, they're going to roll over in 2026 on production. They need to find more ounces. most of the exploration has been done around existing mines, adding back into the mines. And that's what you do in a tight market. But in a bigger market, especially when a lot of these valuations have not moved as much in the mid and the small cap, that's when they come in and start consolidating. And that's, look, it makes sense. It's a historical phenomenon. The where you make your most money is buying the quality junior names, because that you de-risk by buying the quality names, and you in all past scenarios, even Moose Pasture was up 700%. But if you get a quality name, you de-risk your position, you get in with good management, and you want a company that's financeable so they don't run out of money in the meantime. But my sense is, with this big move in the market, we're looking at a lot of exciting events, because the junior market is so illiquid that if you don't buy early, you're just not going to buy. It's going to run too fast, and then you're going to be wondering, should I? Oh, it's up 200%. What do I do now?
It's the same with people buying physical gold. I hear the same old story since 1200 gold. Yes, I wait until it's getting cheaper.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. But that means to me that companies like yours, they will not be victims, they will be winners.
I've done this a long time, and I know that when you create value, and you get rewarded eventually. And we've done a lot of great work the last 3 years, moving these resources forward and cleaning up the company. And it's, it's great. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Super. I'm excited too. Tim, thank you very much for the update. That was great. And I would say keep it hitting and hit us with good news moving forward here. And I hope that I see you at one of the next conferences. That would be great to meet us in person. And keep well. Thank you very much.
I'm coming over this fall, so we'll see you in a couple months.
Super. That's how we do it. Great, Tim. Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was CEO Tim Clark from Fury Gold Mines. And you heard it. Lots is going on. Serendipity, even the first hole with over 12 grams here. Fantastic hit. And they have several more. There are many, many more drill results coming up here. But also at Eleanor South, things will start here very soon. They still have $2.5 million here in the treasury reserved for that beautiful project. And don't forget, it's directly on bordering to Newmont, and so something might here happen sooner than later. And also Eau Claire is a fantastic project, really very, very close to Eleanor South, only 57 kilometers away. And don't forget the big joker, Comet Bay. And last but not least, as I said, you get almost everything for free, because with the cash and the Dolly Varden shares, you only pay like $5 to $7 million for the whole company net. So that's a real bargain. Make sure you own some Fury Gold Mine shares, because something is really going on next year. So thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Switzerland.